overnight, there's been a lot of speculation about Alistair Johnston and Everton.
I wouldn't say speculation. I mean, serious interest, the way I'd phrase it. I mean, I was story in today's paper about. I mean, we've heard about Everton being kind of interested, kind of keeping an eye on him for a few weeks. From what I can gather, is that's now stepping up to preparing an actual bid for Alistair Johnston. He's now very high on the top of the wish list for David Moyes. I don't think it's inevitable that means that Celtic are going to have to kind of to lose him, which I think Celtic, from what I've been being told, is that they neither want nor need to sell him. He's under contract to 2029. Obviously, a major player at Celtic. As a guy who's been tipped to be a future captain, played a huge role coming back from injury last season, a huge miss for most of the season, and his impact when he come back was so noticeable in terms of the way Celtic played. So they don't really want to lose him. Listen, they're less than 3 weeks away from a Champions League playoff, so that Celtic are kind of wanting to stand firm with this one. The player himself, from what I gather, he's settled in Scotland. He's quite happy, but ... the prospect of trebling your wages and going to the Premier League is, listen, let's be honest, that is the dream for most of these guys. And it's now that the interest is serious and it's going to get stronger, it could put something a bit of a jam. In terms of money, I don't know if Everton are going to go to the money that Celtic would need. The money required to make Celtic blink, I think you're looking north of 20 million quid, maybe even towards 25. I don't think, from what I've been told, that Everton value him that highly. I think maybe 10 to 15, maybe the kind of ceiling for him. I don't think 50 million makes Celtic blink at this point in time. So as it stands, there's no bid as yet, but it's coming. But I don't know if it'll be enough to make Celtic actually take it seriously. So, but it'll be interesting because then you've got a situation the player might be thinking, wait a minute, this is a big opportunity here to treble my money. I'm 27. This is probably the right time. He's on 3.5 years in Glasgow. Again, it's back to that Celtic transfer model that in an ideal world that you do cash in these guys when they're hot after a World Cup and you make your 15, 20 million quid or 25 million quid and you move on. But with so much work required for Celtic, this is one extra bit of work they could really do without.
Yeah.
So I think they might dig in and try and hang on to him. Even if just to get to the qualifier and see if we can get through that and then you can get into the loan market. I mean, Julian Araujo last year with Celtic, big favourite of the fans before he got injured. He's back at Bournemouth, and I don't think Celtic's interest in him has gone away, but they can't afford to buy. No, they can afford to buy him, but they can't afford his wages. And now he's on a long-term contract at Bournemouth, so they need to wait and see if he can get him back on loan. So if there's a scenario when they could sell Johnson and get Araujo back on loan, then that could happen. But that's late in the window.
Yeah,
so
and that involves a drop off, Mick. I don't care. I know that
Araujo. No, 100%. Yeah,
but the difference that Alistair Johnston made, as you said yourself, when he returned to that team, he's a huge miss from that team. There's a huge drop off when he's out of it. If Celtic are even going to think about allowing this deal to happen and cashing in on him, they better make sure that they've got somebody that walks in and is just as good, if not better than him, because Celtic really struggled without him. He just offers so much in terms of balance to the team going forward. His running power. I think he's been a terrific Celtic signing, and he totally gets the club. I think Celtic would need to be really careful here. If they've got pound signs in their eyes, I can understand that. This is the business model. You need to have a guy that can just walk in and Celtic don't skip a beat.
Yeah, I don't think that there is no desire to sell him. That's what I'm saying. That they don't want to sell him. They would prefer to. I mean, people saying I'm saying digging the heels in him. Just start a big not for sale sign on him. But
just not answering the phone.
We have to be realistic. The market dictates sometimes, and listen, we've seen it before. But listen, I don't think there'd ever be an issue with Alistair Johnston if the move didn't come about this window. He's not a guy that's going to down tools and take the huff. He's just not. Yeah. I mean, I haven't got to know him over 3.5 years. I wouldn't say, but not got to know him like that intimately. But speaking to him regularly, his attitude is absolutely spot on. He's a hugely positive influence in the dressing room and on the pitch. I just think that it might be tricky because what might happen as well is that if Everton do go first and make a move for him, I think others will follow in behind. I think Alistair Johnston is a hot property right now. He did a terrific World Cup against good teams as well. He's done it in the Champions League. He's done it for Celtic for 3.5 years. I just think he's probably his graph is at the top right now, and it will be more than one club looking at him. It won't be just Everton, that's for sure. That may be the first of many. So it could be an interesting few weeks. But I think Celtic need to hold tight until after that playoff for a start, and ideally beyond that.
In the comments, Keith, just briefly on Alistair Johnston, Mark says Celtic would need 30 million to sell. Franny says if they get 20 million, he's away. How much do you think Celtic would command if he was going to go this window?
Well, I defer to Mick on all things like this. I kind of suspect, though, that 20 million would be closer to the truth.
Yeah. I
think if Celtic could get a deal worth 20 million, maybe with some add-ons, I think that's the point where they would blink. That's the point where they would start to examine it. And it would constitute a brilliant bit of business, you have to say that. But there's a major downside to doing good business, and that's if the business that you're doing has an adverse effect on your starting 11 on the pitch. And Celtic's board have been rightly hammered for doing too many transfer deals, which are great for the bank balance, but really bad for the balance of the first 11. I don't think they can afford to be seen to doing the same thing, make the same mistakes all over again. That's why I'm saying to you, if I'm them right now, I'm sourcing all over the place to find a guy that I can say with some justification to the Celtic supporters, well, this guy will come in, you will not miss Alistair Johnston.
Yeah.
And I think that's a task in itself. That's a huge task.
That's the key, because Celtic should be primed and ready for this kind of offer coming in for the players, because that's the model.
The model, isn't it?
I mean, he's probably a year extra because he got injured, and because he's a bit of a slow. I'm not saying a slow burner, because I think he's been good since he walked in the door, Alistair Johnston.
So they are.
But his game's evolved. And I think Ange Postecoglou and Brendan Rodgers worked wonders with him. I mean, I thought he was quite raw when he first came in. He was like an ice hockey player, just charging into folk and bouncing them out the game. I think they two managers in particular got the polish out, and they made him into a really versatile fullback. He can play on the outside, he can play inverted. Basically, attack is so much better with him in the team. He's such a big influence, and then obviously he's a ferocious defender. Listen, we know he skates close to the edge sometimes. It was quite funny at the World Cup. As a wee side note, his first game at the World Cup, and I don't know if you saw it out there on the telly. He was all pumped up doing the anthem and all that stuff, and I thought he looks a wee bit too pumped up. And I went and checked the betting for a booking. It was like 7-1. 7 minutes in, they clattered the boy booked. I
was going to say first 10, wasn't it?
It was the easiest money I've ever made my entire life.